Hello and welcome to another update video about Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is still below that $21,330 level that we talked about. First, let's take a quick look at this overall wave count here for Bitcoin. Been coming, in my opinion, currently, we obviously created this wave 1 in April 21. This was an impulse to the upside. Then we came down in a wave 2. And in this wave 2, this is a corrective wave, and this consisted of an A, a B, and a C wave. The B wave was an overshooting wave B. Happens sometimes. It's rare, but it happens. And if it happens, then you would usually see the C wave, which is coming after the wave B, go below the low of the wave A. And that is why I was so determined throughout the entire year of 2022 and also end of 2021 to tell you that we have to go into the price region below 28.6k, which was the low of June 21, where a lot of people interpreted this here already as the low was in. Well, I didn't. I clearly told you we have to go lower. I just want to show here that the Elliott Wave patterns can really show you with a high confidence where we will go. And now we are currently in a process where we try to understand, have we already seen the low? And, or is it a rally in which we are? Definitely a tradable rally, but is it something that will still come down even lower than the 17.5k level that we already saw? Or is this already the beginning of something, more sustainable to the upside? That's what we're currently looking at. And again, I told you so many times, first of all, we have to have the wave count to the downside complete, which we saw on the longer term and also on the shorter time frame. It worked out perfectly. Yeah. Then we started to see a first impulse up, and we go and take a look at that in a minute. And the question is now, is this really the beginning of a new rally that will lead to sustainable price increases, or is it just basically a bear market relief rally? This is the process. First, the count to the downside needs to be finished, which it is, and then the process is to figure out, is the low already in based on the Elliott Wave patterns. We always need to see proof in the Elliott Wave patterns. So we're currently waiting for that. We're working on that. Overall, Bitcoin, in my opinion, created its third 1-2 setup. We had a few 1-2 setups before. I mentioned that in previous videos. We had so far 3 1-2 setups. We had, I wouldn't take too seriously what happened back here in 2013, but we had 1-2, we had a 1-2, and we had another 1-2. These are 3 1-2 setups that is super bullish, because all of these 1-2 setups, they also mean that we have to have additional waves 3, 4, and 5s in the future to close these off. So it basically is, you need to imagine it like a bracket that opens that also has to be closed. And that is bullish. This is what young assets do. They build foundations for the future. Okay, and this is what we can see here on the chart. Yeah, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2. I always get the question, how do you recognize a 1-2 setup? Well, it is very easy. Basically, you make your first impulse up, you come down in a wave 2. That's the first one. The second one, he was very clear as well. What came up here cannot be a wave 3. It didn't go high enough. And what came down was too low for anything else. So it must have been a 1-2. And here as well, we moved up significantly. Now, while all of this, you could see as maybe a wave 3 and here then as a wave 4. This is technically possible in terms of the relationships between the waves. This is completely separate from anything that we've seen before. Therefore, from an Elliott Wave point of view, I see this as a wave 1 and a wave 2. The log chart, as I said before, the log chart gives you a completely different picture. I explained it in a previous video. Let me know in the comments if you want me to go through that again. But I don't really like to use the log chart. It distorts, in my opinion, the relationships between waves that you get. From an indicator point of view, we start to see interesting developments. Certainly, in addition to the low that was potentially in, we now see a bullish crossover on the MACD. Definitely a potential buy signal on the daily. The RSI is rising on the daily. And here the ADX indicator, ADX and DI, they are turning into each other, which on the daily chart isn't too meaningful, but we can observe this now. Already, I think it was on the 2-day chart I saw that. or was it another coin? Yeah, no, on the 2-day chart, we see that now already happening. Yeah, so that is starting to get interesting. Here on the 2-day, the RSI has turned around as well, and the MACD as well, starting to move up. This now needs to translate over onto the 4-day chart, and this is what I'm observing. As soon as you see this turning around on the 4-day chart, this is really a good sign that things are changing to the upside. We already see here negative momentum being reduced slightly on the 4-day chart, but it's still too early. But we see bullish divergences on the MACD on the 4-day chart. Plus, then if you see the price action and the ADX turn around, that can really be a bullish signal. Now, before we go into the deeper price action as well, I wanted to take a look at the Bitcoin dominance chart. A lot of people have asked me to really talk about that briefly, comment on it. I'm not really a friend of the Bitcoin dominance chart. All it means is really how much money is in Bitcoin compared to altcoins and so on. I wouldn't use it for trading or anything, but it's still maybe for sentiment quite interesting. So this is obviously the chart, and in yellow I've always highlighted here the areas where the altcoins were dominant compared to Bitcoin, yeah, where you saw more money flowing into altcoins. So whenever that chart went down, you saw a rally of the altcoins compared to Bitcoin. We've seen that a few times, and overall you can see as well that the history, yeah. So again, I wouldn't take anything too seriously before 2017 because there weren't many altcoins around. But as soon as you saw altcoins come in, the trend definitely overall, the long-term trend, as you can see here, is down. That means generally, because more altcoins are obviously coming in and more projects are interesting for investors, you see that altcoin interest is going up, right? And therefore, even though there are periods where Bitcoin dominance is going up in percent compared to altcoins, the overall trend is down, yeah, very clearly. And that makes sense as well, because there are more and more projects that are coming onto the market that people can invest in that are separate from Bitcoin. Yeah, so this totally makes sense. And however, in yellow, you see what we would call an altcoin rally. Yeah, different periods. Maybe I haven't covered them all, but overall, you can see that most of the period was really an altcoin rally. Yeah, the alt season. Last major alt season here in 2021. Pretty much you could say all of 2021 was an alt season, if you want to call it like that, yeah. Maybe not every month, but most months were. So, and then the last bit here that we can see is definitely a 5-wave move that we can see. So from a sentiment point of view, this suggests that there is more downside, and that also is in line with generally, if you just look at the chart from a common sense point of view, you see that overall the trend has to go down further, because certainly more and more projects are going to come in that will make it more interesting for investors to jump in, to invest in addition to Bitcoin. Yeah. And also this last wave here suggests that there is still more to come. We've seen a wave 1, we've seen a wave 2, we've seen a very long wave 3. Makes sense, this is the wave 3 because it is the longest wave. Then here the wave 4, which again is a messy one, a very long one, has been taking place since May 21. So again, makes sense. Maybe we've now already started the wave 5. This is a bit too early to say. This would be, evidence for that would be if we go below 39% on the Bitcoin dominance chart. And then we have wave 5 ongoing. That might be another alt rally then. Now that suggests that the interest in the altcoins will definitely come back. I think that is a good sign for everybody who's getting a bit concerned about altcoins. Now how high this will go, I can't tell you, but certainly it suggests that there is another wave 5 coming, and that the overall trend is further down, and that also makes sense. So this lends itself a little bit to Elliott Wave analysis as well. Therefore, I just showed you that. Overall, the Bitcoin dominance chart is, in my opinion, quite interesting, but overall it is just an indicator based on the other coins. Yeah, the summation of what is invested in different coins. So that's my comments about the Bitcoin dominance chart. Definitely quite interesting, and overall the projection would show that there is further interest coming in for the altcoins, especially as here in by the way, I would not use this chart to really determine if we are in a bull market or a bear market. Yeah, this is extremely difficult to do because we have seen new all-time highs for various coins in this whole period here, in this wave 4. Yeah, this long wave 4. but it was a period where at some point we had Bitcoin making an all-time high and then some altcoins a bit later. So this is an up and down, and still we have seen various all-time highs for various coins. Now, you know, today from my analysis that I believe that a lot of these all-time highs were actually only a corrective wave B. So you could maybe argue, okay, this wave 4 was actually part of a bear market, part of a corrective market. Yeah, because I actually say that the overall correction in the crypto market already started in May 21, which is very much in line with this sideways movement, okay? And that the next move down could spark another rally. That might be one possible interpretation. So let's see, let me know in the comments if you want to follow this chart, but further in further videos. But let's go to the Bitcoin chart and let's take a quick look here at the shorter time frame. And overall, we still haven't seen the the breakout above this important resistance level that you can see here in the white dotted line. You can see how relevant this resistance level is at 31,300. And I wanted to make you aware of two things here, really. So we can count this as a purple wave 1. So from the low 17,500, we can count a first impulse up, which is a good sign. We can count a first correction down, which is a good sign. We've got a 1-2 setup, which means it could really be that the low was already in and that we're going to see a larger rally. Based on that, we would now assume that we are in a wave 3 here in purple, and within the purple wave 3, we are in the white, in a subwave, in a white wave 3. Now, you can count it as an impulse, and however, this assumes that something now needs to happen to the upside very, very soon. That would take us into this red area here, all the way up to 23,300. Now, if this doesn't happen, so first of all, this is the bullish wave count, yeah, and this is the wave count that I adjusted in the last video yesterday, where I told you here, this is what I think is going to happen based on what I see in the chart, but we need to break these resistance levels. Now, if these levels don't get broken, another interpretation is possible. Bear in mind, we have a trend line here that is not yet broken, so but that would suggest we need to push up very, very soon here. Yeah? So there isn't much more time left before we need to push up. So if this doesn't happen, if it takes much longer, it will just get likely that this is not anymore an impulse to the upside. In fact, that we then have this wave 2 never finished yet. So reason for that is we've never reached this wave 2 target area really. And it is still possible, and that was my first interpretation from yesterday, that the ABC, that this here was only the wave A, that this here is the wave B, and the wave C is still coming and going into this yellow target area between 18,800 and 19,600. And the wave 2 would then be finished in here. This is still possible, but even after that, we would expect the wave 3 to start. So it doesn't, from a bigger picture or larger picture point of view, it doesn't really matter if we see this pullback, because it would also be the bullish wave count. The bullish expectation would then be that after this move down, we would see the rally up. So that would be another opportunity for anybody who might have missed the boat down here to buy in. So I'm just telling you, these are the two possibilities. Good evidence that we actually don't have this larger ABC picture, but that in fact we've already finished wave 2. Good evidence for that would be if we break above the wave 1 high at 21,700 pretty much. We need to go above that level to really sort of rule out, you don't rule it out entirely, but you make it less likely that this wave 2 is still unfolding. So as soon as we go above that wave 1, we can assume that we reach this resistance area up here. So it remains interesting, will be an interesting weekend. And that is currently what I can tell you about Bitcoin. So hopefully you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. And if you really like the content, check out the channel membership. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.